Welcome to the Tippie Leads podcast, stories from the University of Iowa's Tippie College of Business that will change the way you work and lead. I'm your host, Nick Westergaard. I teach at Tippie and lead our Story Lab program. Each season of Tippie Leads, we focus on a grand challenge in today's changing world of work. This season, we're looking at how you can be the CEO of your life. As we gear up for the March 25th premiere of the new season of Tippie Leads, we wanted to share a sneak peek of our new season focused on how you can be the CEO of your life. Like leadership, it all comes down to vision. Amy Colbert first joined us back in season 1, where she talked about finding meaning in work in what's become one of our most popular episodes. That's why we're thrilled that Amy's joining us once again this season to talk about what it's like setting a vision for yourself. And more importantly, what happens when there's something that changes in your identity or life. Here's Amy Colbert.
So you know that I was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease about 5 years ago, and that has shifted my identity in ways that have made me revisit the vision that I have. If you had asked me in early 2020, before I was diagnosed, my vision was about broadening my scope of impact in university leadership, going from the department and exploring the opportunity to do things at a higher level. With the Parkinson's diagnosis, that became not as reasonable for me to do because we are happiest when our visions are a stretch, but they are achievable. We want to have a goal in mind that we have some efficacy that we can get to. And so I started to think about, okay, what does that look like over the next 5 years, especially given that I didn't want my values to change. I still wanted to be curious and compassionate and making a contribution. Those are my 3 core values. And I wasn't going to do that from the role as a provost at the university, but I could still do that in other ways. And so I shifted that picture of the future, but in ways that still respected and allowed me to live out those values.
I think that's a really powerful story, and I think one that many can identify with, with those changes that we didn't plan on. And I'm someone that with my own mindset of being very organized and not a bullet journaler, but I'm a sticky note list maker. And one of my biggest problems that I run up against in life is that wasn't on the list. That's not how I thought this was supposed to go. And that can be a huge disruption for people. If there's folks out there listening, whether it's a change in caring for parents, in a diagnosis, in moving, what is something? Is there? Again, the list maker in me said plan of attack, and that's probably not the right way to look at that. But what for a crisis of identity that calls that into question, how can we, and I'm going to say it again, take a step back and realign?
Yes. Oh, such a good question and very practical. The more that I've been writing about these identity transitions, the more people have reached out to say, I know you're writing about Parkinson's. I'm experiencing a move or an aging parent or the loss of a child. Very, very significant events that have rocked my foundation. I don't think I even know who I am anymore. And that is a really difficult place to be. That can result in being stuck. I am going to advise people who are in that moment, first of all my empathy. It is a really difficult moment to be in. And there is growth that happens in that middle space, in that in between. Researchers call this being in liminality. So I'm between one identity and another, and I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do next. And one of the things that I, also as a list maker, want to do is get out of that. I want to be able to put my vision down and be like, nope, I'm back on my quarterly plan. Here I am. I had to learn how to stay in liminality for a little bit. It was very fruitful. And it allowed me to do things that weren't rushing into something new just because I was like, okay, I could do this. And that way I would have a new defined identity. I would be able to create a new vision, but it wasn't quite right. And I had to just allow myself to be open to the things that might appear without me having planned them out in my bullet journal. And that was hard for me. But as I say, I did a lot of writing and journaling during that time, and it allowed me to see multiple paths forward, multiple ways that I could live out the next few years of my life. And that gave me a sense of autonomy. Now I get to choose which of those. Not, oh, this diagnosis pushed me out of this identity, but now I'm back in the driver's seat and I'm going, okay, it's not that, but it could be any of these 5 things. Now I get to choose.
Again, that was Amy Colbert. You can hear the rest of Amy's episodes as well as other insights from our faculty guests in the new season of Tippie Leads, which premieres on March 25th. Make sure you're subscribed at Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or wherever you like to listen and watch. Thanks, and go Hawks! This has been Tippie Leads, a podcast from the University of Iowa's Tippie College of Business. To learn more about our faculty guests, their research, and more, go to tippie.uiowa.edu/Tippie Leads. If you like this episode, share it with a friend or coworker. Or better yet, subscribe to the show on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you like to get your podcasts so you don't miss a single episode. And if you're feeling generous, consider leaving us a rating or review to help others find the show. This is Nick Westergaard signing off. On behalf of everyone at Tippie, thanks for listening, and go Hawks!